I'm hot in my uniform, so I undo the top buttons. Tactus bleeds beside me. His wound goes through his left shoulder. Clean thrust. It's just blood. It's a hole in you. That's not a strange thing. Gory hell. You have a hole in you. You don't see me complaining. Shia! He yelps as she jams a bandage from her dress onto his wound. Hello, Rusters. We are the Sons of Ares. My name is Chuck, and I am the watchman of this episode. Which, you know what? I'm going to add that question in for Cullen later, too. I don't know if he knows what that is. I had to start off this episode kind of with the Severo minute. We know it's not Severo, but that is something he would say. Right?
Severo light.
Yes.
Tactus is definitely Severo adjacent.
Yes. There are some similarities there, but Severo for sure would have said that or worse. With me, as always, joining us through hollow presence, Cullen, how are you, my goodman?
I'm well, Charles. Low, Charles, low to the listener, and I am excited to get back into this. We had a fantastic episode with Janelle, the co-host of the Good Ladies Pod, that covered the gala and the events thereafter of the duel.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, what chapter are we diving into?
So now we're on chapter 13, titled Mad Dogs. But before we jump into that, and I'm not sure if this is 100% blasphemous, I've been pretty hooked on reading through, because we are the Sons of Ares, mind you, but I've been hooked reading through Empire of the Dawn, and it's been taking my time, and it's annoying me, and I'm like, I have some work to do with Cullen here. I don't have time to be thinking about vampires and shit. But I found your quote, your new quote of your life. I'd rather shit in my hands and clap.
And clap? Isn't that fucking hilarious? That's a great line.
So I found a new line that I like too. Interestingly, it was also in that same chapter as yours, but it's when he's saying, "Speak ill of my Astrid again, and I'll tear your teeth from your asshole."
Yeah.
I heard that, and I said, yep, all right, I love it. Like, Pierce Brown has amazing quotes that kind of bring you deep, like something Lorne says, and you're like, oh, yeah. And then you have Jay Kristoff is like, these are these one-liner zingers that you're like, you just fucking laugh at, but they still, they grab you in a different light, in a different way.
They resonate, and they're the kind of lines that you wish you were in a position in like a fight to say.
Yeah.
You know, for a long time, my line has been, at work or whatever, when I'm told I have to do something I don't want to do, I'll say, I'd rather light my head on fire and put it out with a fucking hammer. And now I've changed it. Now it's, I'd rather shit in my hands and clap.
Yeah.
Than do this, TPS report.
Yes. I was going to say, that must be good at like your town hall or whatever you're at.
It's
Anyone
not
there read this?
It's not great. It's not great. When the 65-year-old treasurer looks at me and she's like, I don't think that's appropriate, Cullen.
Yeah. I need to talk to somebody. This is not right.
But I am the HR department, so.
Oh, yeah. All right, so you make the rules or bend them to your will.
I guess. But yeah, you're right. That's great. I'd rather, I'm going to rip your teeth out through your asshole.
Through your asshole.
Hilarious.
I was laughing when I read that, and I'm like, I have to jot this down. And it was in the same damn chapter as yours, so I'm a little bit past that. So if you kind of remember where you were then, but.
Yeah, that's not very far in.
Wow, to be fair, it's not too far in, but.
You got to finish the damn book.
I'm working on it. It's like page 7. All right, so to start, back on this recap, to those listening, the Green Death. These recaps may contain spoilers at some point if we kind of get off on a tangent. We like to do headcanon. We use vulgar language. And we pretend to be adults, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And we may say things that we don't mean disrespect, but please beware, listeners, beware. There's some issues within this series that are, sensitive, and we don't we don't want to upset anybody or anything like that. So we're just trying to get this out there. And of course, a salute to Howler One, Pierce Brown, for writing these awesome books. This is why we are here today discussing them. Now, my goodman, we have some questions. Now I'm going to go up to the top of my notes here. Do you know what a watchman is in the series?
A person who watches. I don't know. I can't think of it. I'm coming up totally empty.
So it's basically the name of the gray police force that enforces the laws of the society. They're known as watchmen.
Oh, yes.
But this was my legit question that I had before that. Now, during the events of the Gala, the chapter we just went over, 2 chapters we went over with Janelle from Good Ladies, which is awesome. And if you haven't heard her stuff, go check that out with PB Doodles on Patreon.
Their Patreon, yep.
Yeah.
And it's free.
Yes. After Darrow takes the sword arm of the newly appointed Morning Knight, Cassius Albellona, madness ensues. Now, this is going to end up being called the beginning of the Martian Civil War. Who is the first known casualty of the Martian Civil War?
And it's not EO.
Well, it's at this gala. So
I know.
shut
I'm
up
being
with
a
that.
stick in the mud. At the gala.
So this is the turning point.
It was. Oh shit! It's Cassidy Bologna. Is it? It's like Bologna's cousin or sister. Cassidy.
Yes.
Carrie. Cagney.
You just pulled that out of you. That counts. Well, I never would have remembered that.
You're going to give that to me?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
I'll take it.
Cassinine, you're adding like Cassius and Cagney and...
I was trying.
Who killed her? And how? If you want the full credit. Somebody came to help save Darrow.
Oh, it was Tactus. He cut her head off.
He cut her in half.
Damn it, yes. I don't get the full point.
No, but damn, that's impressive. You suck.
Well,
all right.
We'll take a half point here because I got Tactus, but I didn't get her name.
Fair enough. Well, you did a combo Cagnus and whatever you said.
Okay, all right. I tried.
So this week's Howl of Appreciation, I'd like to send it out to Philip and Jeremy from Hail Reaper Pod. Colin and I, when we were just getting our footing here doing the Sons of Ares podcast, we were trying to find the groove and our love for the Red Rising lore. And it was actually Philip who reached out to us and basically kind of saw the potential and the vision of what we were trying to do. And they both, Philip and Jeremy, have been nothing but helpful and supportive in our little endeavor that we've created here. And I just wanted to say thank you to the both. Thank you to Hail Reaper Pod, and Janelle's over there as well, part of Hail Reaper Pod. So I just want to say thank you and for seeing the fun and potential of our little love child that is the Sons of Ares. And to anyone who hasn't, I don't know if you haven't, but if you haven't heard of Hail Reaper, if you haven't heard of Hail Reaper Pod, you should look them up. And they go over sections of like, not chapter by chapter like we do, but they break the books down by 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So check them out.
Yeah, I mean, I second that, everything you just said. And if you haven't heard Hail Reaper Pod, Hail Reaper and Howler Pod are like the 2 granddaddies of this. And so, they've been nothing but kind in this whole process and super supportive. And go listen to both of those shows and give them a rate, review, and follow. Although I doubt anybody listening to this hasn't already listened to those.
Yeah. It's true, but you got to give that shout out. They're great people. Everyone's been supportive and awesome. So on that note, Cullen, are you prime?
I am prime, my good man. I am prime.
Register. Let's go. Chapter 13, Mad Dogs. My little made-up quote for the chapter is, "Let the chips fall where they may."
Mm.
Darrow has claimed the sword arm of Cassius Albellona. It just sounds awesome to say. I shall say it again. Darrow has claimed the sword arm of Cassius Albellona. Tactus kills the weasel, Cagney. Victra knocks out her own sister, Antonia, to protect Darrow. Carnus kills Leto, Nero's replacement son, but only because of the meddling of Adrius Au Augustus. Darrow attempted to rescue Mustang, but was unsuccessful as she yelled to him, "Protect my father." The Augustus party, or what's left of them, make haste to a grav lift and work their way down from the Gala. Tactus and others are wounded. Darrow carries a dying praetor. See, now I couldn't say it right. Praetor, until Nero orders him to be rid of her. Showing her signs of respect, which Victra takes note of, he places her on the ground and, with Nero's blessing, takes charge of their ragtag team. While descending from the Gala, below them in the park, they all can do nothing but watch as a family is torn apart and stomped on by Lilith and Scipio and one or two other unknowns. Darrow wanted this civil war. He chose this path, but he did not anticipate the greediness of the Golds. With this new opportunity presented, it seems gold houses are taking it upon themselves to settle old debts. There is a finite amount of time where this purge will be considered acceptable. Who knows what anyone will do now that the rules are gone? Their data pads connections are dead, and they can't contact their ships or guards or obsidians. But to them, their path is clear. Get off this moon now. As the lift lands, they are greeted by two more houses that turn out to be allies. Nero had them in his pocket. They fall into place, none questioning Darrow's command, and he orders Tactus to play decoy with Nero's cloak, the Telemanuses as Nero's personal bodyguards, and they work their way to the shuttle hangars. 3 times they are attacked, 3 times they defended, and Tactus gets his revenge on Lilith and her demons, severely wounding her and killing Scipio and the other henchmen, taking his time to stomp on their corpses while calling them baby killers, which will later become quite ironic. They work their way to the hangars only to find the Augustus ships are gone. Not only that, all of the family ships are missing. Society's rip wings control the skies. They learn from a nearby orange the ships were told to return to orbit 2 hours ago. As they try and comprehend the reasoning, Victra looks to the sky and says, "Mother mercy." Tactus says, "Piss on my face." Another Severo moment. Fallen devils land on the ground, always in threes. Thump, thump, thump. Thump, thump, thump. 99 obsidians, Praetorians, and their commander come barring their way. The newly appointed Rage Knight is none other than Fitchner al-Baka. After a hilarious interaction between them, it is decided that Darrow will accompany Fitchner back to the Sovereign to, quote-unquote, settle matters. So, during my intro, I mentioned Tactus being wounded and Victra causing him pain to shut him up, in a manner of speaking. I had to include this interaction, this quote, because I wanted to know what it sounded like if I said it, which probably sounded like shit.
No, you did good, man.
But more importantly, to me, it shows Victra's character, right? So at the end of the Gala, they're running for their lives. They're trying to get on this lift. Everyone's just really caring about themselves except Darrow and Victra. They're looking beyond themselves. Darrow is holding a dying praetor, trying to help her from a throat wound that she got from one of the Bologna cousins. And Victra is literally tearing off her own dress, her own clothes to make cloths to help the wounded, even if it is a horny little Tactus. There's no mention of anyone else doing the same, and it shows like her value of life and where her true heart is. She may be a feisty SOB, but she's thoughtful and caring as well. So
Hmm.
that's what I read more from that. I don't know if you've read something similar or you still didn't trust her.
No, you know what? I actually, I never, reading it the first time or rereading it, I never really picked up on that. I was kind of swept away with the action of it all. But now that you
Yeah,
hone in on it, I think you're right. It's a really excellent little snippet of kind of laying the groundwork of the person, of the character that will come to know to be exactly what you're saying. Somebody who, although rough around the edges, and talks a big game, puts up a big front of I'm all about myself, I only
yeah,
care about me and mine, and yet is every turn she ends up doing the right thing and doing
yeah.
it
She's
for
more
other
than that.
people. Yeah, I think it's a definitely a great little snippet of her at her best.
Yes. And one shit.
Particularly, we don't really know her at this point, other
Yeah,
than
true.
kind of a brazen and brassy broad who is better, or maybe better than everybody there in terms of with a blade. And yet, you're right, she's dragging along a guy who probably nobody wants to drag along. Like, he's kind of a dink.
Yeah. Since
And
book
she's
one.
risking her life to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a great call out.
I mean, he's a sleazeball. We can't forget what he tried to do in Red Rising, and I'm
Yep.
surprised they didn't get killed there. And then he's also a drunk, not a drunk, but he's like a
No,
narcotic,
he's a
narcotic.
libertine. He's
Yeah, he's always
a
shooting up
drug.
stim shots,
Yeah.
and
Look,
but
I
he
think he'd be a
does,
hell of a good time to hang out with, but I don't
yeah,
want
to
to
a
be
point,
like, yeah, to a point.
yeah. So here we have, and in direct contrast to how Victor and Darrow are handling this situation, we have Nero, the head of House Augustus, Lord of Mars, who doesn't give a shit about his own dying praetor. He never even mentions her name once. We never learn what this praetor's name is. Just says that she won't make it. You need to get rid of her, Darrow. The children drag us down enough, is what he says. So, just to have the exact opposite, that's Nero. But for some reason, I don't know why I thought of this when I first heard this
Well, wait,
passage.
is he
What?
wrong?
No, no. And we'll touch on that a little bit when it comes to the children. I have a thought or a question, but yes, this woman is stabbed in the throat. She's going to die. She's basically dying in Darrow's arms, but it just shows the different personalities behind
Hmm.
what you have for Victor and what you have for Nero. But he's not wrong. No, she's going to die. Put her down. The kids are going to slow us down.
Well, I have a question for you. As a Marine, would you put that person down?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They have to.
Really? And leave them?
So what situation are we in? Are we moving and I need to you have to go on from step to step. You have to go from objective to objective.
Oh, I see what
So,
you're saying. Yeah, yeah, I
yeah.
got you.
And you're in a hot zone. There's no time to be dragging around. You have to clear the area, and then you're gonna make situations and checkpoints, and then you're gonna be trying to deal with the wounded and dead, dying. But yeah,
And so that's kind of Nero's right. Like,
yes,
Darrow's risking everybody else for someone
yeah,
who's going to die.
and it sucks. But in real situation, but you can't ruin your combat effectiveness by just dealing. Now you're effectively losing two in your army of 20 of that they have just because one is dying. And if it's savable or not, but you're knowing with her throat and she's bleeding out everywhere and it's a done deal. But the respect that he gives to her, and Darrow doesn't even know her. We don't know this
Yeah.
person's name, but and then Victra shows her respect for that action as well, and also touching Darrow's shoulder, and you get more into her mindset and how she's a cool chick.
Wow, that's a good point. We see that there's like a echo of this scene later down the line in Morning Star, where she sees him struggling to carry and
Hmm.
do something he doesn't want to do, and she steps in and gently touches his shoulder and says, you know, let me carry the load.
Yes. All right. Yeah, I remember that. I was trying to piece it together, and then when she says, "Let me carry the load," yeah.
But literally, at
Yeah.
this one, he's carrying a actual physical human load, like a
Yes.
person, and later it's let me take some of the weight, let me take the load or whatever. That's interesting. I never put that together.
Yeah. For some reason, when I read this passage in the Naughty Tactus, I thought of Monty Python's and the Holy Grail. I don't know if this is like aging us a little bit, but for some reason, I kept picturing King Arthur when he was fighting the Black Knight.
Oh my God.
And he kept cutting the guy's arm off, and he's like,
tis
like,
but a flesh wound.
Yeah, 'tis a flesh wound. It's like, your arm's off. No, it isn't.
I'll get better.
I thought of that when Tactus was like, oh, it's just a hole. Whatever.
That's great.
Monty Pythons.
You are aging yourself.
Yeah, a little bit.
That was old when we were young.
Yes, it was. John Cleese.
Oh,
I love that.
So brilliant.
I didn't like much of their other works, to be honest, like Life of David and
Life of Brian.
Faulty Towers. I loved
Faulty Towers is not Monty Python, but it's fucking great.
Yeah, true, exactly.
Great.
What else did they do? What was the other one?
The Flying Circus was the show that they had. Then they
hated
had The Meaning of Life.
Oh, that was good. I remember The Meaning of Life.
The guy, that big fat guy that eats himself until he explodes.
Yes.
I don't know why I remember that, but that one stuck
Something
with me.
about fish. I hated that section in the movie. He was singing a song or something about the song will be stuck in my head, and I'll actually sing it every now and then. But yeah, we're aging ourselves. Sweet. So during their descent from the Gala, moving on, children cry around us, startling me. Such fragile things on a night like this. The sons and daughters of Augustus's youngest sister. Their father strokes their hair to calm them. Snorting, his wife bends and slaps each child across the face till they cease their whining. Be brave, she tells them. Now, this quote had to be included in my notes because this is a window into what I assume is part of Nero's upbringing, because this is his little sister's kids and how she reacts with them. But kind of to a topic we were talking about earlier, is there another way to handle this situation? If it was you're with your kids, you're leaving a gala event and there's just warfare and carnage going on and your kids are sitting there screaming and crying, you need to survive. You need to get out of there. You have to break through to your kids. No time to cry now. It's time to grow up real fast. I'm not saying you need to smack your kids, but
no, but yeah,
you want them to live and you need them to harness it in. And so was her reaction overboard? Does it really show Nero and his family's upbringing, or is this just like, oh, we're in some deep shit. You need to pay attention. And this was the quickest way she could get to him.
I think it's maybe both. I think part of it is, you're right, like the shock, like cold water shock of this is not a moment to cry. It's like, this is not a moment to Darrow to be sentimental about somebody dying. You need to get on mission and do what you need to do to save lives.
You're not in the clear.
Yeah. And the same thing with these kids. But I also think there's an element here of, this is the Orient world, the gold world. It's funny, there's the idea of a childhood, the idea of adolescence, that is relatively new. Those are like 200-300-year-old ideas. For the vast majority of human history, you were a child until you were 4 or 5 years old, and then the rest of the time you were of use. You were a field worker, or if you were in Wales in the early 18 to mid 1800s, you were working in a coal mine, and you were opening the shafts.
Oh yeah, you're
air.
The shafts. Yep.
And the reason you were doing that at 4, 5, 6 years old is because you could fit. And
they
the
did
thing
that
about
in
that,
shipping too. The little kids in the coal chutes and shit to keep the fires stoked. And
think about what that means is, so you have to teach a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old how important that job is, that if they don't open the air shafts, people will die.
Yeah.
So you're not only that, but then you have to teach them how to count. They have to count regularly to open those chefs. They have to keep track. They also have to have an attention span that doesn't wander or daydream. And all of that is
How?
happening. And you're teaching that to a baby, what we would consider is essentially a baby.
Yes.
And that's what your childhood is. So you're very rapidly, the world is real. It's grown up. And that's, I think, what the Orients are doing too. Like,
Yeah.
they're training and learning to live in a world where, if they let up on the grip of power even a little bit, then they all die. And you have to teach them that at an incredibly young age.
Yeah.
Um,
I
think
never
about,
thought of that or thought that like how severe it is or how recent of a thing it is that of the idea of childhood. I've never pieced that together before. It's true
even
and
put it
awful
in the mindset of a girl. Like, most women in the Middle Ages are being married off like 13,
when
14,
when
15.
they hit their period and stuff and yeah.
So they're being taught at 10, 11, 12 what it takes to be a wife, what it takes to be a mother, what
Huh.
childbirth is, how to run a household, how to run, a farm or whatever. And it's not just like you need to cook a meal. It's how do you upkeep the house? How do you fix like the wattle and daub of the side of your home or the thatch of your roof? How do you maintain an animal when it's sick? How do you maintain a baby when it's sick? You're teaching that to an 11-year-old.
It's
And they
wild.
have to keep all that information in their head. So like this idea of childhood is so unique, and it's really a sign of advances in technology and
True.
education and medicine. It allows us to have that. Basically, think of fucking Darrow and EO. They were
Yeah. They were kids.
kids, and they were 16 preparing to have full on families and
And
their careers and everything.
he's handling like the most dangerous equipment you could possibly get in the bottom of the mine. And yeah, they're
And at
trying to
that
have
point,
a
he had been
family.
doing it for a year or two, right? Like we think
Yeah.
he was a hell diver for a period of time before we met him.
Yep.
And so maybe he's 13, 14, 15 years old running a claw drill. That's essentially like the child miners of the 1800s and the early 1900s.
That's
Um,
wild. Trying to picture of like what my kids had to learn at that time at like
yep.
4 and what they came home and I'm like, what'd you learn at school? And I don't
Got
know.
like their pasta glued onto a piece of paper with their handprints. It's like,
Yeah, there's all these
oh,
little
you're so
turkeys everywhere.
smart.
Well, in the days of old, where if you were tall enough to see the top of the bar, I remember they let you drink or something, which was at
Yeah, I
like
mean,
Lexington and Concord.
yeah, I don't know if that's anachronistic or not, but like
No,
there's definitely we have photos of like children smoking.
yeah,
Chimney hands were we don't know how many kids died in chimneys.
yeah,
Because it's not like a record that was kept.
it's
And the
wild.
way that what happened very regularly for chimney sweeps is you learned that you were too old to be cleaning the chimneys when you got stuck and died in it. Um,
Oh, great,
that's
that's
how you
nice.
figured out you got too
That's your
big.
retirement package.
You
You're
know,
dead.
so I mean, it's fascinating.
But life
There's a
usually, if you did survive, what was the life like 30 years and you were considered an elder?
yeah, life expectancy up until relatively recently, I think was like 43 for men and 44, 46 for women. And
Jesus.
that's in like the advanced Western world at that time. So, I don't know, you can go way back, and I think it was like 33 for cavemen. A 33-year-old
Jeez.
is an advanced aged male.
I mean, to
We
survive
would
that
be
elements
ancient
and
at that
shit,
point.
yeah. Oh, we'll see. We'll see how long and decrepit we could go. Still be talking shit on some sort of series or something.
Well, we'll still be working on this series because Red
Yeah,
God.
that's, that's true. One chapter at a time, baby. All right. So to bring this point at home, though, I also have done. I haven't been slapping my kids to wake them up from situations, but I've talked to them about there's some bad people in the world, and if things happen, you need to like pay attention. If it comes to a point where it's like, hey, you need to listen, you need to obey, don't ask questions, don't hesitate for a second, and I'll get you through. And it sucks that this is kind of the world we live in, but I've had a conversation with my own children on this, um, to bring that point home. Now, there's a quote here. What?
No, I was going to say it does suck that we live in that world, but this is also the world that it's always been like. You know,
True.
there was a ancient Greek who had to tell his kids, if the Spartans come over that hill, everything that I tell you to do, you have to do it immediately,
Yeah.
or else we're all dead. And they had to tell
Yep.
that to a 5-year-old. You know, it's different, and I don't envy parents today because the conversations that they have to have are harrowing and beyond my ability to fathom. But I think it maybe gives people a little bit of perspective and hopefully peace to know they're not. It's not a new problem. It's not unique. It's changed in its format,
Yeah.
but in the Middle Ages, if you lived in a hamlet in the middle of France, you had to have a conversation about who the bad guys are and who the good guys are and what to do if the bad guys show up.
True.
Otherwise, there's consequences.
Yep. And another thing, you got to tell them young as soon as they can figure it out and fathom what you're saying. You basically had to teach them, and it's the only way you could keep them safe. So, in a
There's
small aspect, I appreciate what Nero's baby sister was doing. She was trying to wake her kids up and be like, "Hey, we got to go. You got to harness this shit up so we can survive this." But what were we going to say?
there's a C.S. Lewis quote that I really like about teaching children
Yeah.
about the bad things in the world. He says, "Fairy tales don't tell children dragons exist. Children already know that. Fairy tales tell children the dragons can be killed."
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know why that I like that one, but
No,
yeah,
I
I'm
like
sorry
that.
I interrupted you.
No, that was a sweet little side tangent. All right. So this is another quote that I had from this chapter. Something has happened that I did not expect. Other family feuds find satisfaction tonight. It felt the same at the Institute when the other students realized it wasn't a game, that there weren't rules, an eerie feeling, a notion that devils roam the grounds instead of men. Who knows what anyone will do now that the rules are gone? The heaviness and the creepiness of the quote is what kind of drew me
Mm.
in. And I pictured they were coming down like a full all glass elevator or something on this lift, and they're looking down and they're just seeing this pure carnage of a
Mm.
whole family being slaughtered. And they're basically just a fish in a fishbowl. They can't do anything about it. But the amount, this is the purge. I think
Yeah.
Janelle mentioned it a previous
Yeah.
chapter where it's
Yep.
like you could get away with it. It's perceived like nobody can stop us for the X amount of time, and the amount of people that jumped at that opportunity is sickening. Um, at least in the story, how many gold families seized on the opportunity.
Yeah,
But
it's you're right. There's a chilling kind of element to that quote that is very effective.
hmm. And how Darrow perceived it, I like to think of this as like there's two perceptions: the gold perception, and then how Darrow kind of pictures it, where he says, "Children, would Io have sung if she'd known this was the chorus? We all carry burdens, and as the killers slip away from the murdered family, I know my burden will crush me under its weight one day, just not today." So, would Io have sung still if she knew, I guess more specifically, gold children would be slaughtered? Yeah, still think Io would have sung. She's still trying to fight for the whole red uprising. We need to have equal footing, but the burdens that Darrow's going to carry, and almost foreshadowing of this chapter and how things end up building and growing and expanding. Will it crush him one day? We'll see how Red God comes out, and we're going to realize how much weight it accumulated.
Well, I think it
I don't know.
does. I mean, I think Iron Gold is and parts, Iron Gold and Dark Age is him being crushed
Yeah,
by the weight
that's true.
of all of this. From here on, from this moment until that moment, he is being crushed by the weight of his decisions and the cost of his decisions. And I think to
Yeah.
your earlier point about EO, I don't know. I think
Hmm.
I wonder. I think it's about almost the optics, in that if it was her choice to sing her song and there were gold children in front of her with a gun to their head, I don't
Oh,
think she
yeah,
sings that song.
true.
But we know that she sings her song and willingly allows a red baby to die inside of her. So
True.
the idea of children dying at the cost of her song is not outside of her thought process.
So if she's
Um,
willing to do that for her own child, why wouldn't she do it for those gold children in front of her if they had a gun to
well,
their head?
I wonder, because she's not looking. It might have been a different thing if Darrow is holding their
Mm.
child, their baby in his arms, and
Yeah.
she's staring at them. I don't know. Does she sing the song then? It would be
Mm.
difficult, I would think, more difficult than to think of something in the abstract. Of course, not being a woman and not being a mother and not having, or, not being a person with a child, I don't know if the fact that she's carrying a baby is even more um, difficult to wrap her mind around. And she still sings the song. I have no idea. I'm
Mm.
just theorizing that seeing those children in that moment might stay your hand or your voice.
Now,
If you
if
know
you're
what that
Harmony,
cost is.
she would probably jump
She would
faster.
sing, she would turn
Yeah.
the volume to
She'd,
11 and sing
she'd
away.
put the noose on herself, and yeah, she'd probably use it for asphyxiation or something. All right.
I
Anyways.
know what you were trying to say there. I
Yeah.
know what you're
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
say. It's called
It was bleeped out.
autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah. 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 Oh, you know of this, huh? All right. All
I
right.
just know the deep, dark, seedy part of your brain that was trying to come out.
Yeah, fair enough. He does know me well, people. All right. So this is how I would think the Golds perceived this night. There is no mercy for gold children. They are not seen as innocent. They're enemy's seed. Destroy them or fight them years from now. Something that also maybe Darrow could have changed. But again, you're having a child with a gun to their head. Do you decide to pull the trigger or not? But that's foreshadowing or, no
Yeah.
spoiler territory. So,
No, I mean, it is foreshadowing to a decision later that certainly does come back to haunt.
yes. Yeah, in many ways. And people are, very adamant at how much hate there was for this missed opportunity.
Well, it's a decision that leads to Hangar 17B. And if you don't know what that
Yes.
is, keep reading.
Yes. My honor remains. There are two key characters in this chapter. Of course, Darrow. As chaos ensues, everyone and anyone and everyone looks to him. Nero himself pretends like he orders Darrow to take command, but deep down, we know Nero was like, shit, Darrow, get me out of here. So Darrow becoming the alpha dog, I think, is something you can't just kind of brush aside. As he says, I take command. I thought someone would object. They just stand watching me, waiting for my orders. All these praetors, all these politicians and sinewy men and women of war. I hold back a chuckle. Amazing the power you have when you're bloody up to the sleeves, and none of it is your own. So Darrow, my boy, deserves a tip of the hat. But I also felt like the other guy to really give a shout out and kind of own this chapter in a very short but powerful way is our main man, Fitchner, the new Olympic knight with his own cadre of titans, his 99 obsidians that do his his bidding. He has his own little mini army. His entrance, how he joins in, and when I heard first time listening to the book on Audible and how I love that part where it's like, oh, they come down in threes, thump, thump, thump. And for some reason, it like stuck with me so much. But
Yeah,
it
TGR killed it.
Yeah, made that part so much more impactful. And then there's Fitchner with his wolf helm that he just kind of brings it back. And he's like, what did he say to start off? What did he say? You miss me, boyos, or something? Don't you recognize me, you little shit eater? And then like, yep, that's Fitchner.
Is he the Rage Knight or the Fear Knight?
The Rage.
I can't remember.
Oh, he's the former. He's the Rage Knight because Lorne's the former Rage Knight.
Yep.
And then the Morning Knight. There was two openings: the Rage Knight and the Morning Knight. Stop trying to screw me up.
No, I was asking for my own edification.
Fear Knight was who was the Fear Knight? That's a good trivia question.
Oh, that's Atlas. Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rah. Now, where was I? Fitchner, the Olympic Knight. But why he stole this chapter, besides his awesome intro, was his interactions with the Augustus family, which was the best part. So when Nero's being an ass, once he realizes he can't buy or persuade Fitchner to let them go, Nero starts off, "You speak as though we're familiars, Bronzy, as though we were equal. We are not equal. I am a descendant of the conquerors, of the Iron Golds. I am the lord of a planet. What are you? I'm a man with the stun fist," shooting Augustus in the chest. I didn't see that coming. I was dying laughing. I can't remember if I was reading it the first time or listening. I don't remember what, but I remember dying laughing. I don't know if you saw that popping up as a possibility that was going to happen, but I also pictured Nero loosing his bladder. Like he got so shocked, fell over, and he pissed himself.
That's great.
Once I finally came around to like, okay, here we go. And then Fitchner asked, who can I reason with? And then you got the little weasel jackal, me. The jackal takes a step forward. I am the heir to this house. Pass. You're creepy. And then shooting him again. I had to take a moment. That was awesome writing. Not expected. And it was the best way to end this chapter. So that ends up coming to the recap of chapter 13, Mad Dogs. Now, we shall go to a tight beam. I sent this out on the socials a few weeks ago because we've had some holidays and some things that got a little twisted. I got to get more concurrent on my questions. But, my Goodman, you must spend the holidays with a gold house, to dine with or to kill. Who do you choose?
The Telemanuses for the dining.
Yep.
And the loons to kill.
Of course. All of them.
I think that
yes.
Telemanus Christmas has got to be the best.
So a lot of people online.
The food is phenomenal. I bet you Kavix and Niobe get the best gifts for everybody. And there's tons of, like treats and just appetizers galore, great scotch, great wine, just a party. I bet you Kavix is like singing out of tune, really loudly, very monotonous.
What is Daxo doing?
But, he reminds me of like the, Daxo's probably playing the piano perfectly, like a concerto.
I imagine I wouldn't want to say a violin because that makes me think of, Apple, but I imagine he was playing some sort of instrument.
For sure. It's got to be the piano. And Kavix reminds me of you remember the Christmas Carol, the old movie?
Yeah. Yes.
The Ghost of Christmas Future, I think, is like the big giant red bearded Santa-looking guy who takes him to what it could have been in the future.
Oh,
He
yes. Yep.
and that's Kavix, 100%.
Big, loud, boisterous, but fun.
Yep,
And of course you got Sophocles running around trying to find jelly beans. And
exactly. A
so the
Christmas
majority of,
fox, like, come on, that's
yeah,
perfect.
bring your presents to you. And then, so I think, who was it, had a good response for that. And it was the Telemanus family was pretty much the winner. But Danger and Beauty Art, who said, how's Telemanus? Because Niobe would help with all of her own kids. So it seemed to
Oh,
be the
there you
main
go.
choice.
That's a great idea. You have
Yeah.
built-in, like, childcare.
Yeah. So that would be a hell of a party. I, for some reason, wanted to just hang out with Lorne some more and have like some
Oh, that's a
noble
good
dinner with
one.
him. But
Oh,
that was
yeah.
my choice.
You know what? That's actually a good one because he's got all the grandkids, so I bet you they have a great
Yeah.
Christmas. He treats all the, like, the low colors well, so I bet you they get, like, their own presents and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Plus, the whiskey
Yeah.
would be perfect. Lagavulin 16.
And the
Nothing better in this
stories.
planet.
I've
Oh,
always
yeah,
like
and yes.
with my grandfather sitting with him
Yep.
as he's telling old stories and stuff, and like just that's what I kind of like. And I imagine that would be you get Lauren a little buzzed sitting by a hearth fire, and he just kind of whispers to himself, but tells some deep dark story that captivates you. That's what I imagine.
Yep. No, that's a good one. I didn't even think of that one, and that's a shame because I love Lawrence, so I should have thought of
Yes,
that.
true story. For this creator corner, I want to shout out again to Beers the Mind Killer KC. He is on Etsy as well. Beers the Mind Killer .etsy.com. If you use Sons of Aries, you get 10% off anything on his store, t-shirts, sweatshirts, posters. That is behind Cullen if you're watching this. Stickers that I already say, wall art. Kevin is a really cool guy. Janelle told us his howler name. What was his Gravity?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes,
Which
Gravity.
is a good
So
one.
yeah, which maybe we'll touch on our little escapades in
Yeah.
the Howler name world. Oh, we'll save that for your episode. All right.
Oh, shit.
So again, Sons of Aries, if you want to check out 10% on his store, we don't get anything from that. It's just if you want 10% off, you can use it. Then Off Planet Holocan, I haven't watched anything. I've had a chance to fire up my PlayStation for the first time in many weeks and
What are you
started
playing?
playing through some old games. I wanted to play the second Hellblade. I think I sent you Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah. Yep.
So the second one came out. Not finally, but I had a chance to finally play it. But before I could jump into the second game, I felt like I had to beat the first one all over again. So I replayed that, beat it, and then it's a short type of game. It's not very
For
lengthy.
you,
And
took me
well,
forever.
really, Senua?
Yeah, because I'm not good with the puzzles and the
Oh yeah. Some of those puzzles were a little confusing, and like you're trying to find an image in weird contrast, abstract ways, and that's not in a normal typical game. But they did that on purpose to show, different
Also, it's a
signs of
fucking
like
scary game.
insanity.
Like it's kind of a creepy game to play by yourself at like 1 a.m. It's
Yes.
very unnerving.
That's when I in my office, lights off, headphones on, and you try to get immersed into it. It makes it that much better.
You love
It's
to
a
feel
cool
like you're going
story.
crazy.
Yes, that's how I play. I like horror games lately, and to go play through Alan Wake or Silent Hill, and
Oh,
I don't know. You
Silent
got to be
Hill. I
in the
forgot
moment.
about that.
Yeah, I
That's an
just
old
Silent
one.
Hill F is they've done some remakes, and they just
Oh,
released a new one, which was F, which came out this year. I got to play that. But after Senua's second game, I'm going to jump in and play Silent Hill F. The Game Awards just finished off for anyone who plays games, and congrats to Expedition 33 for their sweeping wins of almost every category. Have you watched anything on Holocan?
We just watched the finale for Love is Blind Italy. And let me tell you, even in the language of love, relationships are hard, and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was touch and go for a lot of those young kids out there, just trying to find love.
Yeah.
It was garbage and not worth anybody's time. So don't watch it. But my wife and I enjoy watching shitty reality TV together.
Yeah.
So
Well, Jen and I watch The Challenge or
yeah.
some of those shows, which at least they're semi entertaining. If they really mess up, it's like watching old Wipeout, or
Oh my God. I
yeah, or if
forgot
they
about
get drunk.
Wipeout.
Yeah, if they get drunk or they do something stupid and then they get kicked out of the whole game. That's what we kind of watch for. It's like
Yeah, what are
NASCAR waiting
we
for the crashes.
exactly? It tells you a lot about the audience where you're basically just watching to see when someone's going to scream at somebody else about something stupid.
Yeah, it's sad.
A-
Which
and
is
I'm
probably
I'm
why we
there
love
for it.
Dark Age so much.
True.
Is that why we
Yeah, we like to see
book of the
shit
year.
fucking fall apart.
Yep.
But yeah, that's about it. That's all I've been watching. I've been reading a lot, so I haven't really been. We watched it was an A24 horror movie. It was not very good.
Well,
I forget
A24
what
is
it
one
was.
of those lower budget
No,
production,
it's not
isn't it?
lower budget. No. They do really good stuff, but it's hit or miss. It's
Oh.
like one out of
Oh.
every five of their movies is like great, but the others are
Which
kind of
was
like,
it? Do you remember?
No, I don't. This is
Hmm.
annoying. Hold on one second. I'm gonna just.
I'm trying to think of
This is
another
where you
movie.
vamp. You're supposed to vamp.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. A24 is the name of the company?
Yep.
Production? Well, I'm trying to think. Imagine there was
it's
some
called
horror.
Keepers.
Keepers.
Perkins, Osgood Perkins directed it. He did the Nicolas Cage movie that was really big last year. He's had a couple of like huge horror movies that were super popular. This is the third one in his series, and it's like, I don't know. It was weird. There was some scary ass shit in it.
Yeah.
But as a whole, the story was kind of like boring.
Yeah. That's pretty much how Weapons was. That story was just.
There you go. It's the same.
It was awful. But if you're looking it up for some reason, if anyone wants to see and experience what Cullen's talking about, don't find The Keepers, which is on Netflix, because that is a documentary about a murder from like the 60s.
Yeah.
So
actually, that's interesting. That's a good documentary.
That is a very good documentary, but it's you got to be prepared to what you're clicking and going into that. And they never answered anything on that.
No,
they never found out. They just kind of it is what it is. That's frustrating. I hate when a documentary pulls you in and then all of a sudden it just, well, there you go.
No answers.
Yeah, see you tomorrow. We'll find out in 80 years, maybe. So moving on from that, books, I've mentioned I'm reading the third and final book very slowly, Cullen would say, of The Empire of the Dawn. And you sent out a picture of some books you had stacked up on Instagram or something. Is that the list that you're going through and reading?
No, I've read those. I was just putting. I just had Golden Sun on top of them, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting mix of like True Grit by Clinton Portis and Caesar's Advances in Gaul, and then the unit history of the 20th Maine in the Civil War. It's just a random collection of shit. But it was funny because people were like, oh, that's cool. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's an odd mix of books.
Well, no, it worked. People loved it. From that, I wanted to have a little shout out 21 Railgun Salute. We unfortunately lost Peter Green, who was forever stuck in my head as the perfect villain from The Mask, which was my first experience of him and his acting and of Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz. But yeah, whenever I pictured any bad guy or somebody from the 80s or 90s movies, I always pictured him. He was like the ultimate villain.
And he was in Pulp Fiction. No, Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction. I forget which one.
Pulp Fiction.
Was it? Yeah.
He might have been in both, but I know he's in Pulp Fiction.
And you're right. He was like the quintessential, like pretty boy, but slimy bad guy.
Yeah. It always seemed like his hair was wet, like just greasy, and was wearing
slicked
leather.
back. Yep.
Yeah.
But he had like beautiful blue
it.
eyes. So he was like, he was a stunningly interesting looking person. But if we want to talk about beautiful, Cameron Diaz in The Mask. I mean, that's 10-year-old Cullen, just heart going boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom. You know.
Yep. A seductive little
something else.
bank robber that she was. Yeah. I think that was my first movie I ever saw with her, and
that's the first movie anybody ever saw with her.
She's just started acting again, I think. Right? She went out. She retired for a bit, but I think she was coming back for another film.
Well, I'm not here. I don't think anybody's going for her acting. She's not exactly. I mean, I'm not a great actor, so I'm not passing judgment. I'm just saying, 10-year-old me loved her in that movie, The Mask.
Yeah, fair enough. And Rob Reiner also.
Geez, that's a crazy story.
Him and his wife. Which I learned chivalry from watching A Princess Bride and his creation of that. And I learned honor
a lot
through
of people in our generation. That's where we kind of, you know, either from books or that movie.
As You Wish. Yep. and crossing the seas and becoming a pirate just for the one that you love and do anything. A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
You know, learning about honor and through that experience.
Stand By Me.
Yes. And
love that movie.
There was another one. Well, I learned about like mental issues and anguish with Misery, Stephen King, but he directed that, which
is crazy to think of.
Yeah.
To go from like a courtroom drama, a psychological thriller, a children's fairy tale with like a heart of gold, When Harry Met Sally, a coming of age tale.
Yes, Harry Met Sally. Yep.
You know.
Yeah. So
pretty crazy.
Tribute, and it sucks. There's also some other things that's happened across the oceans in Australia, and there's a big event that happened there, and we just want to give a shout out. This is tragic times and events happening, and our heart goes out to everyone affected in that situation. But if anyone lives over there and you know of some organizations where we could like donate some relief to or something, email us. Because I'm not sure where I would send anything and it'd be legitimate. But yes.
But the thing to keep in mind is in the darkness there is light, and out of that tragedy there's heroic acts that were done, just beyond any regular people doing stuff that is truly heroic, and that's I think one of the biggest things that we should take away from these things are the heroism that's found in average people just doing the right thing to help and save other people. But you're right, that's important to just acknowledge that it's tragic. Keep having these goddamn conversations about it.
Yeah, one day maybe it'll change. One day.
Well, way to end it on a real fucking upswing there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, this does conclude my mission of Chapter 13, Mad Dogs. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please rate, review. Come check out our Instagram at Sons of Ares Pod, YouTube, TikTok. If you have any questions covering any chapters, topics, characters, a passage you wish to be discussed, send us an email or a message through Instagram. Our email is thesonsofarespodcast@gmail.com. And for now, we sign off. Cullen, we are the Sons of Ares for the Rising.
Valete.